Okay, this is the first time I'm going to power up the V2 with the battery pack. Please feed the YouTube algorithm by giving the video a like. If you want to see more like this, click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. If you want to chip in on my expenses, I now have Patreon and YouTube memberships. Okay, I was about to start testing the V2 with the battery pack fully working, providing 12 volts from this power supply to power the back box like I did before, and the power supply immediately trips off. And somehow I have picked up a direct short between 12 volts and ground. I'm at 0.1 ohms, which is near enough to a direct short that this is what's happening. This is a major problem. If I can't figure this out, I could spend 5 minutes on it, I could spend 3 weeks on it. So I'm going to start isolating different parts of the circuit to try and figure out what's going on. But man, I really didn't need this right now. Alright, here's the process I went through. I was disconnecting everything in the back, no change. Then I took out the fuses in the front box that used to have the fuel tank, and it went away. And then I put the 30 amp fuse back in and it came back. So the wires that are connecting this fuse, which is the main 12 volt supply from the front of the car to the back of the car, there's something in this circuit. That helps me a lot. I can track that down. And the reason this didn't show up in my testing is I had to steal these fuse holders and put them in the back because I didn't have enough. Then when the order came in, I installed the fuse holders, installed the fuses, and bam, here we are. So this was a problem that existed only because I didn't have the fuse installed. Okay, I think I cracked it. I isolated all the wiring so there was nothing wrong here. So that took me to this fuse up in the front, that whenever this 30 amp fuse was in the circuit, I would get a short. So what's connected to that nearby? This power switch, which has a light that lights up inside, and I believed that this wire should go to ground to have a path for the light to light up. And in the past, the light lights up when this black wire is connected. As soon as I disconnected this wire, the short went away. So I either don't understand how to wire this switch or it somehow failed internally, but the system is working now with off the 12 volt battery going back to the back through here. And you can see we've got 12 volt buses working, and the Thunderstruck charger is up and running, and I'm accessing its console. Okay, with the full pack working, plus 12 working, I'm about to turn on the V2 controller with this switch. In a working car, you're going to hear a contactor go thunk, which is the first contactor that lets current flow through the pre-charge resistor that very gently allows current to flow through into the various components, especially the motor controller, because it's got a giant set of capacitors on its input, and you do not want inrush of current there. After some number of seconds, which is settable in the console software, the second contactor will click, providing full flow power from the battery to everything else that needs it. The motor controller, the DC to DC, and the charger. So, I don't know. This is Virgin software that's just been flashed. I don't know what the default conditions are, but let's give it a try. Okay, it has power. These are the two contactor LEDs. I'm not hearing it engage, so I probably have to go into the console on the laptop and get that set up. Okay, the EVTV V2 is powered up. The battery pack is engaged. It's producing 132 volts. But we're not getting any data flow through the Tesla cable, which is not surprising. I made 2 splices in that cable, and there are 2 brown wires and 2 orange wires, and I'm sure I got them backwards. But you can see it's detected there are no modules on the bus and no total pack voltage, although we are reading current from that black current sensor, so one thing works. It's connected to the Wi-Fi, and it's updated the timestamp, so everything in the V2 is running well, except there's no data here. So I'm going to try and buzz that cable and see if I can find my problem. Because as far as I know, there's no way to force this to engage the contactors to let the car drive. The Tesla data bus has to be working, which is a reasonable assumption by Jack and Colin, who wrote the firmware. But I'd like to have a trust me, I know what I'm doing mode in order to just engage the contactors. All right, in order to debug the Tesla data wire, the first easy thing I can do is swap the oranges and the browns and see if that makes any difference. The blues to blue, grays to gray, yellow is to yellow, and we'll see if this solves the problem. Okay, my debugging of the cable began here, where I found that I had just made a completely bad connector. Everything was wrong. So I took the connector apart and I just stuck the pins directly onto the pins that go back to the other modules. And I buzzed each color. They're all good. Gray, yellow, orange, orange, brown, brown. They're all good, but blue I cannot get. If we come back here, this is the end of the cable that plugs into the V2. If I buzz the corresponding pins that come up from all of these splices in the front, they're all good except for blue. Now, the blue at this butt splice actually comes in here. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with one hand. There. I managed to get it shoved in the hole, and we're getting continuity. So the wire is coming up from the front box, but it's not making its way through battery 4, 5, and 6. And if we look at the connector that was plugged into 6, the in and out blue wires do not beep, and that's a bad thing. Focus. You know beep, you know beep. So that means there's either a problem in this cable or how I plug them into the modules or something else. So what I have to do is disconnect the modules and slide them back so I can get access to these connectors that are now buried under the pile. Yay. Okay, I unhooked the modules. I came in here and there's only one blue wire and it doesn't buzz. And it looks like it's going out to the end of the cable, but there's nothing feeding it. Then the bottommost cable has one coming in, but nothing going out, and this does buzz. I got a blue right there. So the blue comes in here, and then it doesn't go anywhere, which actually matches the diagram here. Comes in to the next one, but there's no transmission of data from here to here, but it does go from here and then to the last one. So what's up with that? It comes in and stops dead, and this one goes out. What happens in between here? The gray is fault. You can see the gray goes from one to the next. Orange is +5, goes one to the next. the receive data just goes straight across. So the transmit changes to transmit to receive to but there's a break here. How does that even work? I see there's a transmit out that goes from pin 3 to pin 3. That's, what color is that? Is that brown? I gotta see what's going on with that, because it looks like it comes in 7 and goes out 3, into 3, and then out 9. That's nuts. Who designs this protocol? All right, as a last test for the night, I brought over the shop's working V2 box that is just, it works with everything. I'm going to plug its serial port into the laptop. That will give the V2 5 volts. It will power up the ESP32 board, and I will plug the Tesla data in here, and that will feed power to all the Tesla BMS boards. They do not need to have their high voltage connected in order to function. I plugged in the cable into this one, and look, we have 6 modules. We have 132.086 volts. The current sensor is not the one that, I don't care about that. We have data, communications. So what this tells me is that there's a difference between the wiring into this box that works and my box that doesn't, and that is a dead simple thing to fix. Oh, I can't believe it. This is such a tremendous relief. Oh, geez. All right, well, oh, that is simply amazing. I'm just gonna sit here and watch this and just be so happy after thinking about this moment for months, that this moment would happen, that the modules are in and connected and the data is flowing and the Tesla is happy. Oh man, I am so happy. Okay, I just got to work out a little bit of wiring problem in there, make it look like that, and then all I have to do is hook up the bloody motor. There's 2 wires and this thing could go. Well, then I got to look at the pop box, but I could hardwire that and override everything and just tell the motor controller, just drive. All right, good night. Well, I tracked it down. I had a broken yellow wire inside my V2 from the connector that I made, so that's my fault. I replaced the connector. We have all 6 modules are checking in. Our pack voltage is perfect, and the contactor's just connected. So I should have full pack voltage on the 2 most positive and most negative terminals of the battery pack right now. So the V2 is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. That is fantastic. Now I just have to go and remake that connector and get it happy. The front connector has been done and it's beautiful. The wiring back here has been cleaned up. The battery pack is back in place and fully powered up. So let's engage the V2. And I've got the power meter on the output of the contactors. So this is the power that's going to the charger. Will flow in from the charger, go to the DC to DC, and also go to the motor. So let's turn on the V2. This will connect, hopefully. Yeah, automatic connection. Takes a few seconds. Okay, we have 6 modules. We have current, we're getting the timestamp, everything's good. Now let's watch the contactors and the voltage on the pack. There's contactor 1. There we go, 130 volts, and boom! We have full engaged contactors, and we have full power on the output terminals. This is a good milestone. This is fantastic. Now what I need to do is run the 2 cables down to the motor. They're both going to come up through their things here and into a right angle terminal. Just before we wrap up, I want to thank my Patreons, Peter Bouvier and Puppy, for their support. We also just popped over 2,000 subscribers, which is quite a nice milestone for my little channel. All support is greatly appreciated. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please give it a thumbs up. I see that 81% of the viewers aren't subscribed. Please do, as it does help the YouTube algorithm. Take care and see you next time.